This episode of The Inspiration Show is so incredibly special because today's inspiration is as sweet as a cherry and she has a voice like butter. And she is just such an angel. The incredibly talented Hailey Hyde is joining me. Hailey is currently making her Broadway debut in The Outsiders, understudying the roles of Cherry, Marcia, and Bev. Thank you so much, Hailey, for joining me. I just have so much love and admiration for you, and it's such an honor to have you here.
Of course. Thank you so much.
So, when did you discover that you had a passion for singing and theater?
Yeah, I think from a pretty young age, there was a lot of music in my home, which I'm really grateful for. And I just knew I loved to sing. So, I mean, my parents will tell you that all around the house, I would just sing all the time, which I'm glad they didn't find annoying and that they, encouraged me to pursue that and take voice lessons and eventually dance lessons and acting. And so, yeah, from a pretty young age, I knew that this is something that I loved to do. And it all started from like a place of music in the home, which I think is really awesome.
Yeah, I think it's so special when you get to be exposed to like different kinds of music from such a young age because you can really kind of find like what's for you and then you end up singing it and it just becomes something that you fall in love with and you just take it and you run with it and it's so awesome.
Totally.
So, what would you say really inspired you to become a performer and who's been an inspiration of yours throughout your career?
Yeah. I had a couple aunts do Broadway tours. And so seeing that, wow, someone in my family has done this as a career makes it more real, you know? And so that they for sure inspirations. And then I think like I don't know. I mean, me and my like next door neighbor friend would listen to the Wicked soundtrack and we'd listen all the way through and we'd be one character and then we'd switch. So like she'd be Glinda, I'd be Elphaba, and then we'd switch for the next time we listened. So I think definitely like that soundtrack alone, but and those women were definitely great inspirations.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome. And
oh yeah.
I love how it always comes back to Wicked.
Right? Always.
Starts
So
it. Oh, oh my gosh, I would love to see you in Wicked one day. Oh my God, you'd be
oh,
perfect in that.
it'd be awesome.
So, can you take us back to the first time that you really experienced theater and how you were feeling at the time?
Yeah, I mean, it's Wicked, which is funny. My
Yes.
there was the tour of Wicked. I saw it a few times on tour actually when I was pretty young, but yeah, I don't even remember how old I was. Like maybe 6, 7, 8, which is really young for that show, especially. I'm like, wow, that's kind of scary. But yeah, I went and saw it and I was like, wow, like this is magical. So that was definitely like my first Broadway experience. I grew up watching, so there's a theater in St. George, Utah. I'm from Utah. There's a theater in St. George that's like 4 hours away from where I grew up. And we would go a lot of the times and see the shows during the summer. And my aunt was often in them. And so I think seeing her in those shows, it's an amazing outdoor theater in like the Red Rock. And so seeing her in those shows was like, wow, like this is amazing. Like they can do some pretty crazy things. They have like a rain curtain and they do fireworks every show because it's outside. So that was like magical and really awesome. There's a lot of local theater in Utah. Um, that's really awesome. So that's really cool. Um, yeah, and I got to work at Tuacahn last summer, which was like a huge full circle for me. I was like, wow, like I'm doing the thing and that I always wanted to do. And yeah, so that's really exciting. Those were from some of the first theater experiences. My first Broadway show in New York was Newsies, I'm pretty sure, which
Yes.
I was like, oh my gosh, like people can dance like that? That's crazy. Like it's unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. It was so cool. So,
And there's so much full circle in that. Like, I can't imagine how incredible that must have been for you to like step out onto the stage where you grew up seeing theater and like
yeah.
Newsies being your first experience, and now like The Outsiders is constant compared to Newsies. Like, so many full circle. Like, I love it so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh. So, can you share a little bit about your dance journey growing up and how that shaped you? Because you're also an incredibly talented dancer.
Thank you. Yeah, so when I mean, I took like baby ballet when I was really little, but it was like whatever fun. And then I kind of stopped and did sports for a while when I was really young, so that was fun. I'm glad I got to do that. And I really enjoyed soccer and basketball and tennis. And I mean, it was things my parents had to like push me to do, but once I was in them, I enjoyed them.
That's
Um, yeah, it felt like music came more naturally than the sports, but I did enjoy the sports. Anyway, and then we moved, so I lived in Idaho for like my childhood, like 10 years, and then I moved to Utah. And we kind of had to decide, okay, are you gonna like stick with sports? Or are you gonna, do you want to take more like singing, dancing lessons? Like what are we thinking? So I started doing more singing and dancing, taking more lessons seriously. And that's when I started taking dance classes again. And at first I was a little hesitant because I was like, oh, like my body is changing and I'm in front of a mirror and I'm feeling really vulnerable and I don't know if I love this yet. But then my sophomore year, is that right? My sophomore year of high school, I sort of accidentally auditioned for my aunt now owns a conservatory of performing arts called Utah Copa. And it's like an after school program where you take singing and dancing and acting classes, which is super fun. And I'm so grateful that I had that growing up. And so, yeah, I would go there. For like the musical theater companies, you had to like do a dance audition, but it was usually like pretty chill, pretty fun, whatever. And then they just had added like a new section of the company that was gonna be just dance. And I was like, oh, there's no way I'm doing that. Like, I can dance, but it's not like I'd rather do the theater part of it, whatever. And I missed the like theater dance audition for some reason. I don't know, school or whatever. So I had to go to the dance audition to make up for my theater dance audition, if that makes sense.
yeah, of course.
And they were like, no, like, Haley, we want you on this dance team. And I was like, oh gosh. And I was like, maybe. So I ended up doing it. And there was only 5 of us on the team the first year because it was small. It just had started. And it was so fun. And it pushed me so hard because we got such individualized critiques. We were taking ballet and jazz, like taking all the things all week. And so I grew so much as a dancer that year, which I'm so grateful for. And I grew to like really love dancing. And so yeah, I was a little bit of a late bloomer in like the dance world, but I'm so grateful for those years that I had doing that. And I grew to just understand that dance is just another form of, telling the story, which, made it a more full picture for me, which is I'm really grateful for sure.
Yeah, I always say that like when I dance, I get transported into this whole new world, and I love how like that accidental audition kind of brought you into this new world.
Yeah.
You kind of like fell in love with it because like what would have happened if you made it to that theater dance audition rather than having to do the dance audition, right? So I think it's so special how that kind of shaped you and gave you this whole new love for it.
Mhm.
So you attended Brigham Young's University, where you obtained a BFA in musical dance theater. So how has your experience in that program kind of influenced your development as a performer and prepared you for a career on Broadway?
Totally. I loved my time at BYU. It was so fun. I met some of my best friends there. Was able to do like they have a company called the Brigham Young, the BYU Young Ambassadors. And that we were able to like tour and do service opportunities and do workshops and perform all the time. It was so fun. Um, and in that, our director, in that, first of all, it was really cool to be able to like use arts as service. Like we'd go sing in old folks' homes or do workshops with kids and seeing how much joy and light and love you could bring to people just through singing and dance was like so powerful for me. And I think set up a reason like why I do this. And our director, my second year, he really encouraged us to like write down our why, like why we do this. And I think that can shift over time, but I think it was really important for me to establish that while in school because auditioning is hard and you get a lot of no's and it's like, why am I doing this? And so like having that foundation that it's like, I'm here to bring joy to others. I'm here to lift other spirits. I'm here to, you know, bring joy or relief or, a moment of connection with any audience member and I've done my job, I think that that's what makes it worth it for me. And so remembering that has been like so helpful. I remember one of my first auditions in New York. I think maybe it was like a dance call for Wicked or something. And I didn't even get seen. And I was like, oh, this is tough. I woke up at like 3 a.m. or whatever to go put my name on this list. And then they just threw the list away. And I was like, dang it, like, this is hard. And I knew it was going to be hard. But then I just texted my professor and I was like, hey, like, thanks for helping me establish why I do this because, this is not for the faint of heart. This is hard, but I'm doing it because I love it and because I know what it can do for other people and what it has done for me. So, yeah, I think that's was really helpful.
I relate to that so much because as a theater major too, like people always tell you like if you can see yourself doing something else that isn't theater, go do it because it's hard
Mhm.
and you get this rejection constantly, but when you're up on that stage and you get to see people out there who came to see you, who came to watch you tell this story, it's so special and that sense of connection is just so beautiful. And like you said, that's the reason why we do what we do and we're just so grateful to get to be able to tell these stories and see how they impact people because it truly changes lives.
Yeah.
So you've brought so many beloved stories to life in incredible regional theater productions like Cats, Frozen, Rock of Ages, and so many more. So if you had to pick a couple, which regional theater productions have been the most memorable for you? And could you share a couple standout moments?
Yeah. I mean, doing Tuacon was so fun again because it felt like a big full circle moment. And Frozen on that stage was so cool. And Anastasia, like it snowed on the stage for both of those shows. It was so fun. We had fireworks and Jersey Boys, we had two full, like huge cars like go across the stage. It was so fun. Um, and then I think also we did Cats at Music Theater Wichita. And that is just a show that like when else are you gonna dress up like a cat and like crawl around a stage? Like it's so fun and so like tiring, but it makes it feel so worth it, Like, oh, it's so silly, but I loved doing Cats. Um, I'm trying to think of other ones. Music Theater Wichita is just so great. Um, their program. I don't know if you've heard of it,
I
but
have.
yeah, so they do like the college where like all the college kids are the ensemble and then they bring in people from New York and otherwise to be the leads. It's such a great setup. I loved working there. I worked at North Shore a couple times and I love their theater. So sweet and fun. Yeah, I feel really grateful for the opportunities I've had. They've all been so awesome. Yeah.
I definitely want to dive more into your experience with cats because, like you said,
Oh
that
yeah.
show is like none other. So, what was that routine kind of like for you, having to do the makeup and like it's a crazy dance heavy show, but it's such an iconic and beloved story. So, what was that like your personal experience bringing that to the stage?
Totally. So at Music Theater Wichita, you learn the show in a week and then you tech for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, and then you put on the show for a week. So it's a really fast, you know, turn of events. It's like boom, boom, boom. And so we had to learn, I mean, the show really quickly, but also the makeup really quickly. And so the first day we like did a trial of the makeup, did not go well. I just did like the details and I was like so distraught after. I'm like, I'm gonna look so bad. I'm like, this is not my forte. Like, I did a makeup class in college, but it did not like I don't know. I was never doing like full cat makeup. It was like, yeah, anyway, I was stressed. But our makeup and hair designer was like so kind and patient and just like was so helpful and giving tips and tricks and being there. And so once we did the full thing, it looked a lot better, which is good. Um, but yeah, that was so funny. We all would get there so early at the theater to like do this full makeup, which was so funny. It's that is a really incredible tool, especially with that show, that like to jump into a character, like taking that time while you're like doing the makeup helps you just like, okay, I'm a cat now. Like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. And then our director, choreographer, Chaz, he would have us like at the end of the rehearsal day for like, I don't know, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't even know how long it was, but he would have us in the just rehearsal room be our cat. And he would like throw down a book and then we'd like react. Or like he'd add a ball and like see how like we would react with that. And like there was one day where we went through like the hierarchy of cats that are in the show because cats is for me at least is really about like relationships and the relationships that each of the cats in this community like has with each other. There's like so much lore.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
but that's what makes it so fun. And like, does the audience know the lore? Not really. But the people on stage are like so enveloped in it. It's just, it was so fun. It was awesome.
It's such a special show, and I can't imagine what that experience must have been like for you. Oh.
Yeah, so
And then
fun.
you also got to do Frozen twice, right?
Yeah.
So what was it like revisiting a show that you already got to be part of and kind of the differences between both productions and stepping back into Arendelle?
Totally. So at North Shore in Boston, it was like smaller theater in the round. And so I guess
Mhm.
it's a decent sized theater, but the stage is smaller. And
Mhm.
so it was so interesting. They have these like big ramps that you like walk down to the stage and the whole audience can see you while you're like walking down the ramp. So that was like so interesting to be able to perform that in the round. It was so fun. And Alyssa Fox was our Elsa. She's incredible. She played Elphaba. And I was her understudy, which was so fun. And I just got to be like, you're amazing. And she's so kind and just a lovely human. So that was such a cool experience. And then, yeah, with TuaCon, what had happened is I originally auditioned and didn't get it. And I was sad about it. I was like, oh, dang, like it's a dream theater of mine to work at. And, you know, maybe this just isn't the right season and it'll come back, whatever. So then I went and did North Shore. And then I was visiting home actually. And I get a call from my agent. He's like, hey, um, someone is leaving the Tuacon contract for like the last 3 months. Would you want to go down there? Like, I heard you're in Utah. Like, could you drive down tomorrow to Tuacon to start learning the shows? And I was like, sure. I was like, let's do it. Like I'm not doing anything, like might as well. So I literally drove down the next day. I had my friend was subletting from me and I had her like bring home a huge suitcase of like clothes for me from my room. I was like, I'll pay for it, like whatever, but like could you bring my clothes? Because I only was supposed to be in Utah for a week and now I'm staying 4 months. So yeah, I went and did that and I learned like the three shows in like 10 days. So that was really exciting. And then doing Frozen again, it was a completely different experience because again, we're outdoors, the theater is huge and we're in the desert. Like it was so cool to be able to see like this new life that the same show could take on, you know? It's both were incredible shows and it was really cool to be able to do it in such different environments. It was really fun.
Yeah. I always say too, like, as an actor, I also like picking out the little tidbits when you see the same show in different theaters with different casts. Like, so many people who aren't in the theater world will be like, "Oh, you've already seen that show. Why do you need to see it again?" But like, if you have different cast members on and it's at a different venue, and it's so special to see how the same story and the same characters can be ever so different. And it's so awesome to get to pick up on
Really.
that.
Yeah.
So, out of all the roles you've stepped into, are there a few that particularly stand out to you for specific reasons in all of the regional theater productions you've done?
Yeah, I feel like I have to like look at a list. Um, I feel like I usually say cats because it's cats.
Yes.
It's really fun. And that role pushed me because I played Jelly Loram and she has to sing like multiple high Cs, which I didn't think was possible for me. Like on a stage, especially. Like maybe in a warm-up I've hit it a few times, but like there's literally in the opening number, it's like, and can you as cats do begin with a C? And then Jelly Loram just hits a high C for no reason. And I was like, I don't know if I could do that. But our sweet music director, one day just was like, okay, do a cartwheel and then sing it. Like, just go for it. Like we just like did it over and over again. So I would feel confident performing on the stage, which I was so grateful for their patience and kindness with that. And I did it. And so that role really pushed me, I was like, "Oh, my voice is even more capable than I thought it was." And that's really exciting to figure out. I'm trying to think of other shows. Babette was so fun. That was
Yeah.
like just sweet and fun. I played Mrs. Potts when I was in, what grade was that? Sixth grade. And so
Oh.
then to play like Babette in a regional theater was really sweet. Um, uh, I'm trying to think of other roles. I think understudying Elsa was really cool. It's a role that I feel like really suits my voice and honestly my personality. I don't know if I'm as I don't know. I don't know, but I think it lends itself well to
Mm.
me, which is nice. And so that felt really cool to understudy and learn the role and study that. I'm trying to think of other things. I'm like, what else do I have? I have to like look at my resume. But oh, we did ragtime and that was really fun too and hard. And yeah, that was a beautiful show to be a part of. So, yeah, there's so many. I think that's what's so great about, summer stock and regional theaters. You get to do so many different roles and you get to play so many different characters. Um, and it's so fulfilling and fun.
I also love, like you said, like with summer stock and regional theaters, like you do so many shows over the course of like such little time. So it's so special to get to like step into all these different characters and like learn all these different things and kind of add that to your
Mhm.
toolbox and you get to bring it to other roles later in life. And it's so special, but also such a challenge to do so many roles in such little time. But it's really awesome.
Yeah.
So you are currently making your Broadway debut in The Outsiders, understudying the roles of Cherry, Marcia, and Bev. So before getting cast in the show, were you at all familiar with the story, and why did you feel the need to be part of telling it?
Totally. So I think it was eighth grade that we read The Outsiders in school, and I loved it. I was like, I think we all can relate to the characters in The Outsiders. I think, especially being young and reading it in school, it's like, wow, these kids are my age. Like, this is really powerful. And we watched like parts of the movie while we were reading it. And I was like, wow, this is so awesome. And so I grew to love it then. I think I had a shirt that was like gray and then it had like stay gold on it, which is so funny because I don't even know I don't know where that shirt is, but I remember having it and being like, yeah, this is awesome.
Aw.
And so then I heard about the show because I was in a show with Dan Barry. We were at North Shore doing Elvis together, which was so fun. And he left for like a day or two to go audition for Outsiders. And I was like, oh, like they're doing the Outsiders. That's cool. Like I remember reading that. Um, and then I got to see him in like June maybe of last year, which is shortly-ish after they opened. And yeah, that was so fun. And immediately I was like, oh, like this is a role I could play like now. Like I feel confident that like these these women are around my age and I can that feels like in my wheelhouse. So I immediately emailed my agent and I was like, "Hey, like I think they might be going on tour next year, but if there's any auditions for Cherry, like let me know. I would love to be in that show." Because I remember watching it for the first time and like that rumble, I just was like, I'd never seen anything like it. Like my jaw was on the floor. It was so good. And so then I, yeah, I just a year went by. No, not a year. Now it's been a year, but months went by. Went and did Frozen, went and did Tuacon, and then there's I tell this story all the time now, but it's so I love telling it. It's so fun. In Times Square, they do like the confetti over Times Square for New Year's. And during December, like that last little few weeks of December, you can like go right on the confetti, like your dreams, so that they like throw it over and like, yay, your dreams in the air. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that. And so I went and did it and I wrote, I will play Cherry in The Outsiders. Like I knew that this was gonna happen. Like I just had to. And so I put it in the bin and I was like, okay, I send it off. The next day I had an audition for something like a regional theater and I come out, I look at my phone and I have an audition for The Outsiders on Broadway. And I was like, I literally manifested that. That was yesterday. I screamed. It was such an incredible feeling. I was like, there's no way. So yeah, from then on, yeah, I just like, I felt so attached to the story. I felt like vocally, my voice sits in a similar place as Emma's does. And yeah, it felt right from the beginning, which is really special.
That is the most beautiful thing ever.
Mhm.
Like you invented manifesting on a whole new
It was
level.
crazy. Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. And your voice is just my favorite thing. Like I remember hearing you two like at the concert, the miscast, and I was just like, this is perfect. Hailey, play all the parts, please.
Oh, you're sweet.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you.
incredible. So, what was your rehearsal process like and the overall experience as you stepped into these roles and became part of the company?
Totally. Um, I started rehearsing January 7th. I think, so what happens when you come into a company later, you don't initially rehearse with the full company. It's just you and the dance captain, or it's you and the choreographic supervisor, or it's you and the music director, but it's usually very few people in the room with you teaching you the show. So I initially learned Cherry. I think I learned Cherry in like a couple weeks, which is super fun. And then at the end of those couple weeks, we started to learn Marcia. And then we learned Marcia in like a couple weeks, and then Bev like a few weeks after that. So they had a lot of time, which was really awesome for me to like really dive into these characters and learn. And the whole team was so kind and gave so much grace and also like was so clear. Like I worked with our dance captain Milena and she would be like, okay, and this is the person that's on your right and this is the person that's on your left and they're gonna go like this. So even though there weren't bodies in the room, like I knew what was happening, which is awesome. So then by the end of that month, I think it was January 24th, I had my cherry put in, which was super fun. So that's when like the whole cast comes and we run the show. I'm in hair and makeup and costume and nobody else is. Davis Wayne was actually in costume as well. And maybe Aramy was. There were a few of us in costume, which was nice because Davis and I came in at the same time. And so yeah, we did the show. We did the put in. And that was really exciting. And of course, I made mistakes, but we learn and grow, and it was awesome. And then, yeah, I started in the booth that next Tuesday. It was January 28th when I started in the booth. And then, yeah, and then it was like a month until I made my Broadway debut. So I was chilling. I was ready. I was ready to go. Made my debut as Marcia, which was so fun. And then shortly
Yeah.
after, Cherry. And then like a few months later, I did Beverly, which was so fun. So yeah, it was crazy. It was super fun, but awesome. Yeah.
Well, that's so awesome. And I have to ask, just out of my own curiosity, how did your put-ins for all the other roles work as well? Like, did you have a put-in for Marcia and Bev, or was it just like Cherry? How did that kind of work for you?
Yeah,
To know the three
I
girls.
did. I had to put in for Marcia with like the hair, costume, wig, but because the hair and costume and wig are the same for Beverly, I didn't have to wear them again, I don't think. I think I wore the shoes again because I mean, those heels are
Yeah,
high. It's
and
hard
it's
to
a
do.
dance-heavy show. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to dance in that EPDM for sure.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think yeah, those just came as like we had some new people joining the company, and so yeah, I just hopped on to their put in as well,
But,
which was nice. So
yeah.
yeah, I got some good runs in before having to do any of my roles, which I feel really lucky because that doesn't always happen.
Yeah. And like I feel like it's super important too. And like I could never imagine covering like three roles. And like
Yeah.
especially with the outsiders like going having to do the rumble and like having to do all the dance numbers and like all the girls are always kind of like together. So it's like
Mhm.
kind of hard to place that in your brain. So it's really awesome that you got to have all of that. So
Yeah.
so we touched on it a little bit, but could you share a bit about your journey with the outsiders from your audition process to where you are now?
Oh yeah, totally. So yeah, so I got that audition call, which was crazy. And then that was for a video. So I sent in a video of me singing one of the songs and doing one of the sides. And then that weekend, I actually had a trip to Disney World planned with like a few of my friends. So I sent in the audition and then I got on a plane and I was literally watching a parade in Disney World when I got an email from my agent being like, "Hey, can you be in New York tomorrow at like 4 p.m.?" And I was like, okay, yep, I can. I'm there. And so I spent the rest of the day in Disney World. I got a flight at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. the next day. And I made sure I didn't scream on any of the rides so I could sing the next day. But I was like, it was so fun. I was so happy. And so then flew in, like came to my apartment quickly to change and, warm up, and then went straight to the audition. And we did the same song inside, which was awesome. It went well. They gave me some feedback. And then I think it was the next day that I got called in for the dance audition. So they called me back for that. We did three different combos with cuts in between. We did like an opening number-esque combo. We did some of the drive-in partnering and some of the opening partnering. And then we did some fights. So we like got to punch and get punched, which was crazy. And at that point, by the end, there was only four of us. And so it was so funny to be like, okay, we're like locking in. We're about to like fake get punched right now. Like this is the final push. So that was really fun. And then on the train ride home. Sorry, I'm like sleepy after this long
Sure.
week. But on the train ride home, I got a text from my agent saying, "Okay, they want to see you tomorrow for a work session and then the following week for the final callback." And I just like immediately started crying. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like this is crazy. It's happening." And it's so wild because I felt like excited and nervous, but I've never felt so at peace during an audition. I was like, I'm supposed to be here. I feel really confident in my abilities. And this just like, and I don't always feel like that in the audition room for sure. But this felt really special in that like, wow, I'm supposed to be here right now, even if I don't get it. Like I'm learning something, I'm growing, and this, I'm grateful for every second of it. So yeah, then that next day we did a work session. It was super awesome with Miranda, and Hinkley. And then that next week I prepared and prepared and we did a couple songs and a couple sides, and it was awesome. It was front of that whole panel of people from the show, producers, directors, writers, choreographers, like everybody was in that room and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like Danya Tamor, we're just chatting. It was so fun and she's so kind and cool. So yeah, did the things. I felt really good about it, which I tend to be a perfectionist, especially about my work. And so the fact that my mom called me, she's like, "How'd it go?" I'm like, "I think it went great." And she's like, "What?" She's like, "You don't have anything?" I was like, "Yeah, I feel good." Like she's like, "Wow, like this is crazy." So, yeah, went to Olive Garden to celebrate.
Oh, yeah,
Square,
as
what
you
else?
should.
And then the next day I flew home and for Christmas with my family. And yeah, heard like 5 or so days later that I got it, which is crazy. It
That's
was yeah, it was
like
pretty
best Christmas present ever.
it was awesome. Great timing. I was with my family. It was like I couldn't have asked for anything better. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the video of you getting the call, it just makes me
Yeah.
smile every time. It's
Yeah.
so special.
I'm literally in like an apron. Me and my sister had like we do a thing where we cook cookies. We like bake cookies over Christmas and we like make a whole bunch of different kinds that we've never tried before. And so that was like our cookie day that I got the call. And I'm like wearing an apron and an ugly sweater. I'm like, what is going on? But I was so happy. It was awesome.
Also, this year for Christmas, you gotta do some kind of like cherry inspired kind of cookie.
We should have. Yeah. Or this year. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
We should have
Oh,
done.
that's awesome. And I have to ask, how did Marcia and Bev come into play with your audition process if it was like initially for cherry?
Yeah, so it actually was for it's for the track that I do now. So it was for booth singer, understudy, Cherry, Marcia Beverly. So I knew from the beginning that I would be covering all three.
Oh, so that's awesome kind of going into it, like knowing you can do
Yeah.
it with them. Yeah, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite part about portraying these roles and getting to tell this beloved story on Broadway?
Totally. I think it's so fun to be Marcia and Bev because they flip-flop during the show between boy and girl, which is really fun. And we get to do the Rumble, which is like
Mhm.
what? Like when I was in 8th grade watching the Rumble like in class, did I ever think that I was gonna do that? No. But like now I get to like in rain, blood on my face, like it's unlike anything I've ever done before and it's so fun. It's like it's incredible. I love doing it. Um, and so I think that's a really fun part, which is so funny. I'm like, yeah, when I get to like get punched. But it is really fun. I think Cherry feels really, I love playing Cherry. It's a character arc that is really beautiful to me throughout the show. And I think singing Hopeless War is probably my favorite part of doing Cherry. Um, I think because it sits in my voice in a place that feels really comfortable, but also because it's just a moment of like, it's just Pony and I'm just begging him to not do this thing, and and she's right. After the Rumble, like, yes, we've all changed like personally, but like our circumstances are pretty much the same, like I'm still a privileged girl and you're still, pony boy. Like
Yeah.
you're still in the same circumstances, but like I think our lives are changed because of how we now view other people. We see people as whole instead of just like the stereotypes that we, perceived of those people before. So I think that's a really beautiful arc that is able to happen.
Yeah, I know. I love Hopeless War. It has to probably be one of my favorite moments in the show. Like, it always leaves you on the edge of your seat. And I think it's so beautiful, especially with Hopeless War, like to see how that song has changed throughout the growth of the show and how it provides like these different insights. And I love it. It always leaves me breathless.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, playing Cherry, Marcia, and Bev, like all these three distinct characters, and you get to kind of view the story from all these different like perspectives. Does knowing all three of the girls kind of change how you portray each one of them?
That's a good question. I feel like yes, like I didn't learn Bev until a little bit later, but once I had learned her, I was like, wow, like there's an edge to Bev that the other two don't have. And so it was really interesting to, dive into that and what that could mean. And do the other girls have moments of that? Or did they used to be like that? Or, you know, I think it definitely is interesting because they all are very distinct in how they move through life and how they, perceive each situation. I think it's honestly most telling in Justice for Tulsa. Like, there's three distinct people here, and they all make different choices. And playing all three of those is super, interesting. It's a cool thing to do.
And I think it's so cool, like, the dynamics with all the girls, because like you said, like, in Justice for Tulsa, we kinda get to see them together, and, like, in the drive-in, we get to see them together, but we also get to see so beautifully, like, their own distinct stories and how they all kind of intertwine, and I can't imagine how that's given you, like, all these different perspectives and insights into, like, their own worlds, but also their worlds
True.
together and how, like, their worlds impact each other.
It's true.
Yeah. So, can you walk us through what your Broadway debut day looked like from the moment you woke up to taking that bow on the stage? What was going through your mind?
Totally. Totally. It was probably like let me look up like what day of the week it was, but I'm guessing it's a Tuesday. Because in my head,
We love a good Tuesday on Broadway, fresh
it was
and
a
bold.
Wednesday, so
Fresh.
close.
Oh, close, close, close,
Wednesday.
close.
And I woke up and I was just expecting to do a booth day, and so I was chilling. I went to Pilates. I was on my way. I was on the train. And I get a text from Beverly saying, "Hey, you're on for Marcia today." And I literally just start crying. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like it's the day. Today's the day. This is crazy." I immediately text like all my friends. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, going on?" My parents, I'm like, my family. I'm like, "Come if you can." Blah, blah, blah. Not my family. My family is all out west, but my friends who are in the city, I was like, "Come if you can." Like blah 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 blah. I can get like a few tickets for a little cheaper, and like yeah, it's gonna be awesome. And then I took my Pilates class, which actually was so great because it felt very like grounding. Pilates is a lot of core work, and I was like, okay, I'm warm, I'm ready.
She's
And
ready.
I met up with my friends and we got some breakfast at a place near the theater. And then they walked me to the theater and they were like, "We'll see you in a second." They were so sweet and so happy. My friend was filming it all. I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're so sweet." I'm like, it's so cute to have like this day um recorded from, her perspective. And so yeah, then I got ready. I was at the theater so early, but I was like, I just want to feel as prepared as I can. I got ready. It was really sweet. There was a moment while I was getting ready that I just like took a moment and I was like, baby Hailey is like so proud of where you're at. Like, and I just, I was crying all day. It was so fun. And yeah, so I had a lot of moments like that. I had a lot of moments thinking about family and friends and the support that I felt throughout I'll get emotional, throughout my whole like growing up and my whole career and all the teachers that I'd had. I think like the next day I went through and texted like a bunch of the teachers I'd had growing up, being like, "Thank you. Like, oh my gosh, I made my Broadway debut yesterday and like I couldn't have done it without you." Um, yeah, just feeling, like, so grateful and prepared. Again, like, it had been a month since I had been singing in the booth, and I, like, knew these tracks. I felt ready to go on. I was just excited and so prepared because the people that taught me the show, did it very clearly, and, um, it was awesome. So then, yeah, I feel like I was warming up on the stage, and I remember Victor coming up to me being like, "You are like the most calm person I've ever seen make their Broadway debut." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I'm like, "That's so funny." I do feel prepared and I definitely was like feeling it on the inside, but maybe I'm good at,
Calm and collected.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, exactly. But it was really sweet. Everybody on the stage was like so kind. I remember um Emma like bringing me flowers for my debut, and I was like, "You're so sweet for that." And she was like, "Just take a day to like I mean, not take a day, take a moment in the show to like look out at the audience and just like take it all in." And I was like just crying. I was like, "You're so sweet." And everybody just had like little moments like that with me where they were like, "We're so happy for you. We're so grateful that you're here." And I just was like, "Oh, on top of the world." I remember coming down, doing the rumble for the first time was crazy too, because we never did it with the rain.
Oh
For
yeah, we got to talk about that
yeah.
after.
For the pudding, we didn't do it with the rain, so I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy."
Yeah.
And then I remember coming down at the very end of the show and just, like, watching Stay Gold and just, like, crying. It's like,
Yep.
so awesome. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm doing it." Like, again, taking a moment with, like, young Hailey being like, "I've wanted this my whole life." Like, I'm so, so grateful to be here. And so, yeah, I still have those moments, like, to this day where I'm like, I get to do the thing I love, like, and I've always wanted to do, like, I'm so lucky, like, wow. And so, yeah, it was an awesome day. So fun. The bows were awesome. They, like, throw
Travel,
the
yeah.
yeah, it's so
That's
sweet.
my favorite tradition.
Yeah, it's so sweet. Stand on the tire. It was awesome. Yeah.
And it's so special
Great.
because in your track, you kind of get to have like three debuts in one.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we got to talk about your Cherry debut because that was your Broadway principal debut. What was that like for you?
Yeah, Cherry was so fun. It was a few days later, March 1st, and that was really exciting. It felt like Marsha was a nice one to start with because it's like she has some moments where it's like she has some lines, she has some like featured moments, but you're also a part of an ensemble, so you feel like really, you're in it. You're supported, you're going. And Cherry is different in that like you have a few more standout moments and, you're this prominent, out front. And you're also like supported by all these people, but there's moments where you stand on your own and it's you. It's you on a Broadway stage, your like voice, the singing part of it, which I was like, this is crazy. Like my voice alone is like sending out into this Broadway theater. Like it was like I couldn't comprehend it, but those are the parts the music was where I was like, "Okay, I got this. I'm calm. I feel good." I actually fell on my Cherry debut.
Wait,
Yeah.
I didn't
The
know
the
this,
the renverse, my, like, leg gave out, my, like, ankle, like, went like this.
but you wait.
Fell.
You always do.
Yeah, yeah, so I fell and then I rolled out of it really quick, so it almost looked like I did it on purpose, almost,
Thank you,
like
dancer first.
yes, yes, we did a little roll, got back up. John Patrick was my Bob, which was so fun for my debut. I was like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "I just fell." He's like, "It's okay, it's okay." I'm like, "Okay." I just was like laughing after. It was so funny. But yeah, so that was a funny Cherry debut moment. Singing Hopeless War for the first time in a debut was just like awesome. Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, I played a Broadway principal today. Like, what? That's crazy.
Did
It was so fun. Yeah.
And we, of course, have to talk about doing the Rumble for the first time, like you said.
Oh
Like, I
my
mean,
gosh.
that is the iconic, like the most iconic thing on Broadway right now. We
It
got,
was crazy.
we got to talk about it.
It was so crazy. Because the rain is like just wild. Like,
Yeah.
there's rain on stage. What? That's crazy. And it was so fun. Doing Marcia for the first time in the Rumble was really nice because how it works is there's like I forget if there's 2 or 3. I wanna say there's 2, well, maybe there's 3. 2 or 3 rain bars that, like, come straight down, like, the rain runs in sheets, and then the last rain bar is like it kinda spurts out. Instead of a sheet, it's like a spray. And so, when you're Marcia, you're in the back a lot, which is honestly kinda nice because it's a little bit less heavy, I think. I don't know, it's all a lot. But but I was able to like see because you're in the back, I was able to kind of see everybody and I was like, "Okay, I get what this is. I know what's happening." And so when I would like go toward the front as Marsha, I was like, "Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I get an idea of how this how this is going." But it was crazy. I have contacts too. And so sometimes in the rumble, I feel like my contact's gonna fall out of my eye or like it will flip and I just like cannot see, which is like really scary. But usually I could just like squint it out and, get by. And there's a lot of like safety measures in place that like no one's gonna, get hurt. We hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt it was so fun. The adrenaline, I was like, "Yeah, like, this is awesome."
Let's go. Punch and squint. That's what we gotta
Yeah,
do. Punch, squint, repeat. And
yeah.
then what's it like? Because you have to run back off stage right off the rumble and get back into the girls. So what's that craziness like for you? Like, we were just boys and we just rumbled and now we're going back to our girls.
Yeah, I mean, your heart is, like, beating
Yeah.
so fast because you just did, like it's like a it's a good 3, 5-minute number of, like, high intensity physical activity. So it's like your adrenaline's running, and as Marcia, you, like, run back, and our costume team I feel like there's a better word for that. Anyway, they are, like, so efficient and kind, and they're, like, helping me and, like, dry off and change, and they're doing it all so kindly, and it was awesome. So, the change is honestly, like, really it's nice to just be able to, like, breathe, and they're helping you, like, every step of the way, so it's like, "Okay, we got this, we're good, we can breathe," and it feels really quick, but there's some good time there. I usually have a time to, like, get a sip of water, breathe a little bit, look if my, like, mascara's all over my face, like,
Yeah.
because we try and take it all off before the rumble, but, it
Yeah.
happens or sometimes
Yeah, like,
stays.
for me personally as an actor, like, quick changes scare me, like, my heart is racing, like, to, like, make it for my cue or, like, get out on stage at the right time, so I can't imagine what it must be like after the rumble, like, you're all wet, you just did the craziest thing you could possibly do in the theater world, and then it's
Yeah,
like, "Okay, we're back." It's
yeah. No, it's good though. Our team is so amazing and kind, so I
yeah,
always feel very supported in that way.
yeah, so since you cover all 3 of the girls, how do you keep the characters distinct in your mind so you can switch between them so seamlessly?
Yeah, I don't know, I think learning them I had, like, 3 different colored Sharpies. I had, like, pink, green, and blue. And
Yes,
so
color coding.
yeah, yeah, I'm like a detailed note taker, so, like, anytime they would say, "Okay, Beverly enters on this word and goes to 4 next to the tire." I would just like write everything that they would say down and then I would make a tracking sheet. And I did it all in like a notebook at first because I feel like I remember better when I handwrite things. And then just like on my phone I have still um let's see. Yeah, like Bev tracking, Marcia tracking, and I just like have all of the, tracking of the whole
Yeah,
show that they do. So that when I go on and I'm like, okay, what number does Marcia go to in this number when this happens? I can like look at this thing and just like have it, which is super nice. And so I feel like it's pretty easy to once I had learned all of them, I could be like, okay, Marcia and Beverly are different in that in this number they exit the same way that they went off, and then in the next number they exit opposite. So it's like it almost makes it easier to like compare them because they're in all the same things, but just at like different points of the stage, if that makes
yeah,
sense. So yeah, sometimes it's hard. I like the other day in lift call, I hadn't done Marcia for like a month or so, and I had been doing Beverly more often. And in like our lift call, I like went to the wrong spot for a second, but then was able to like recorrect. So it's like it's nice that we have a lift call for sure to like be able to make
yes,
mistakes then so that in the show it
yeah.
doesn't happen. But then yeah, people are kind and be like, "You're over there."
Yeah, thank you, live call, thank you, fight call, we get it
Yeah,
all sorted.
exactly.
Uh,
Exactly, but that's the only time I can remember, like, really mixing them up.
yeah,
But it is funny, sometimes I have to be off stage being like, like I'll do Cherry one night and then the next day do Marcia and I'm like, okay, I'm Marcia, I'm Marcia, I'm not
Yeah.
Cherry, I'm Marcia. Because I'll like hear a cue for Cherry and I'll be like, I'm supposed to be somewhere. I'm like, no, I'm right here. Like, you know. So
And
sometimes
like,
that.
yeah, and like I can't imagine like being on stage, like let's say you're on for Marcia and you'll be like, okay, I know Cherry's next line, but I don't know Marcia's next line. Like I can't
Yeah.
imagine understudy brain. It's the most incredible thing in the world.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, I definitely review all the lines before just in case, you know.
Because
Make sure I know what I'm doing, but
yeah, they're all swished around in there. So when you gotta just like pinpoint one, and like if you don't have a lot of notice too, like it's craziness.
yeah.
Oh, but it's magic. Theater's magic. So, what aspects of the show and embodying the characters of Cherry, Bev, and Marcia have brought you the most enjoyment thus far, and what are your aspirations as the show continues its run?
Yeah. Oh gosh. I think there's so many little moments. It's like those moments that you get to interact with the people on stage that you're with that are like so fun and make it so worth it. And I think just like a collection of all those moments are like really special and fun. That's what makes it fun every night. What's what makes it exciting and new and fresh and stepping in as an understudy is always really exciting. You bring something new to the stage and yeah, it's really fun. I think something I'm looking forward to, I think just like, you know, every time I do it, I learn something new about these characters, and I think that's really exciting to just like to do it, to explore these characters and how they interact in the space with all these other people.
Yeah, and it's such special characters that we all know and love so well, and getting to see these new versions of them in the musical, I think, has been so special, and getting to have this incredible story be reintroduced to new generations. Like, it's so awesome. Like you said, I wrote the book in seventh grade. Like, it's all we read about. And I actually told Daryl this, and we laugh about it. In seventh grade, I had to write my final essay on The Outsiders, and I wrote it on Johnny Cade, and it was called Hero or Hoodlum. So I was like, guys,
Mhm.
I think I might have manifested hoods turned heroes, like
Yeah, there you
Jim
go.
Carrey.
That's
And
funny.
it's so special getting to see like little kids, come and see the show who haven't read the book and discover these characters and see themselves. And I think it's so special getting to have the story be rediscovered in so many different ways.
Totally.
So I have to ask about the booth singers because they are such crucial part of the Outsiders. So what's it like being in the booth and what goes into bringing these moments to life behind the scenes?
Yeah, so as booth singers, we help the ensemble is like dancing. They're dancing, dancing, dancing. And so we're just a little bit of an extra help to support them backstage. And so we get to sing all the ensemble stuff backstage. The people on stage are also singing, which is awesome. We're just there to give some extra support, which is, when I'm on stage, I'm like, I'm grateful for that because
Yeah.
I'm running out of breath. So thank you, Booth. And yeah, so we're just up in a room on the third floor. There's four of us in there, and we just, we'll sing and then we'll chat, we'll play a game, we just hang out. It's a good time.
But I know I was so interested too on how all of that worked. So getting that sneak peek on So Saturday too was like so awesome.
Yeah.
Getting to
Yeah.
hear from you because it's so special because not a lot of people realize like what goes into the show from the backstage perspective, especially because it's such a physically demanding show and it's so special to get those little tidbits and insights.
Yeah.
So, do you have a favorite scene, song, or moment in the show that you look forward to performing in each of your respective roles?
Yeah, I think like I mean, similar to what I've already said, but I think the Rumble is so fun. I think Drive-In for all of my characters is like a really like high energy moment. So I think that's definitely in all three of them. It's fun for different reasons. So yeah.
So much fun. And what is your favorite part and most challenging part about being in the show?
My favorite part. Oh man. Yeah, I just feel like telling the story. I feel really lucky to be a part of the story just in like any small way, you know? Beverly doesn't have like a set line or anything, but her side of the story, even though it's like a little more rough is like, it's a crucial part. So, um, I think just being a part of it all is really special to me. My least favorite part? I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Maybe when my contacts are like burning.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing I can think of because otherwise it's a good time. It's fun.
Yeah. And we of course have to talk about, like you said, with Beverly, like not having a set like specific line or anything, but she's so important to the story. Like I do want to talk about Butter Bev because like you said, like she's mentioned in the book, like with the whole
Yeah, yeah.
so like I think it's so special and I want to dive into that too, like with Ace and with the characters that we don't really see in the book. It's so special like getting to bring yourself to that. So what's it like kind of inserting these special characters that we know about, but they're not like set in the book and kind of bringing them to the world?
Totally. Yeah, I think it's really fun to, take what these people who have been working on the show for years and take inspiration from them and how they've set up this character and how Danya has, informed who that character is on the stage and explore that within yourself and how what you can bring to those characters as well. There's like I feel like it's hard to be Beverly. Beverly is scary. She's like I'm scared of Beverly. I'm like, whoa, like yikes. But like, you have to tell it truthfully, in the story. So it's a crazy thing to do. But yeah, it's exciting to just like, lean on what the people who have done it before you have done.
Yeah, and it's so special getting to also like bring yourself as Haley to these roles and to these characters that people know and love so much. I can't imagine what that experience must have been like.
Yeah.
So, what has been your highlight moment in The Outsiders so far?
I mean, it's hard to beat a Broadway debut, like that's pretty crazy. But there's been so many moments, like just with the cast and meeting the people is really, really fun and very joyful. Yeah.
It's such a great special group of people. Just one of my
Yeah.
favorite people all around. Oh, so awesome. So, is there a particular project or moment that you feel truly defined you as an artist?
That's a good question. Project or moment that defined me as an artist. I feel like it was like a lot of little moments. Like growing up, I don't know if there was like one big moment, but I think, yeah, it's all those like in between moments where you're stepping out on the stage for the first time in like a new venue, or you're doing tech rehearsal and you're having a good time and you're like, yeah, like this just feels right. I think it's like a lot of little moments that have just like led me to where I am today. And um yeah, if that's kind of a lame answer, but I think that's my answer.
So, looking back on everything you have achieved in this industry, what advice would you give your younger self entering the industry?
Hmm. That is such a good question. I think like be patient with yourself. It's easy as artists and as human beings to, we want to do our very best job. I think I could still tell that to myself now, but I think especially back then, it's like you're young, you're learning. This is a new skill. Be kind to yourself and learn how to speak kindly to yourself. Because that can only help you.
Yeah. Haley, thank you so much for joining me on the Inspiration Show. I'm in constant awe of you and your incredible talent, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to get to look up to you and watch you shine. I have so much love and admiration for you, and it was such an honor to have you here. Thank you for inspiring me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for chatting. It was so fun.